Hello and welcome to Web Development for Beginners. This is a free course that's going to take you from having no understanding of how to create a website into creating a one-page website that has capability of being for a small business, a service-based business, or even like a church, something like that. It's not going to be e-commerce. It's not going to be very widespread. It's not going to be a 5-page website, but it's the very, very basics of a one-page website. I'm going to take you from start to finish in this class all on your own. And so the purpose of it is to allow you to be able to start freelancing, to start getting bookings from clients who need very basic rudimentary websites, whether it's Upwork or 99 Designs or Fiverr, something that you can start off with to start your journey. So this is an introductory course. I'm Empress Marshala Matthews of the Ashula Empire, and we are offering these courses to allow in the world, all around the world, to be able to find their own financial stability. So as you take this course, I want you to understand it will not be something that's going to just be super, super, super hard, but you will need to put your work in, and it's going to walk you through your very first client. So a little bit about me and my background. I began web development when I was very, very young, probably 10, 11 years old is the first memory that I have making my own. And back then it was much harder. You needed HTML and CSS. I remember my father teaching me C++, A#, all kind of stuff. We don't need that today. But because of that background, I'm able to take what I do know and make it very, very simple and easy to understand. Today, we're not going to be learning a lot of code. We're going to be learning how to program things, the difference between programming and coding. We're going to be learning how to function within cPanel and WordPress. We're going to be learning how to put things into the website online. We're going to be learning different things about domains and all those type of things. And so to get started, I really like to go over the terms in the beginning. So that way, as we talk and as I'm teaching you, today we'll be actually loading our very first site by the end of the class. You'll be able to understand what I'm speaking of, what I'm talking about as I'm sharing it. So I'd like to start with the very first thing we're going to be going over is back-end development. Back-end development is not something we're going to be doing. That's our very first term. Back-end development refers to a server-side coding that goes into developing and creating your website on the back end. It's not the part that people see. It's not even in the WordPress. It's a bunch of files and documents and just code lined up that goes in the back of your in your actually your folders where you're going to be able to view the stuff. That's how WordPress actually comes together. It views folders that is in your main hub in your cPanel, and there are documents that have kind of functionalities that WordPress is able to put together and understand and then share on your screen. We're not doing any of that. We're going to be doing a lot more front-end development. But I do want you to understand what it is. So if somebody were to ask you, do you do back-end development? The answer today would be absolutely not. No, you do not. We're going to move next to a browser. Now, there are some I don't really understand about browsers, domains, different things. I need you to understand that a browser is a window that you're in. So Safari, Chrome, Google Chrome, Windows Explorer are browsers. That's actually the thing that you open to type in www. Where you type in www.to is called a browser. I'd also like to bring up domain is that www. And the domain is simply just an address of where your website is. It's not your actual website. Your website is actually in your server, which we'll learn as well. Your domain is where that server can be accessed from. The point that you can type in and then it will go get the information from that server is your domain. So if you look at the bottom, it says tech.theashulaempire.us. That would be the domain of where this is located online. Now, that domain without the server will mean nothing. So if you just type that in and we don't have a server attached to it, it will just say parked free, or it might come up as nothing because it's just an address. Our next word. Coding. Coding is actually the process of writing computer code to define and instruct the computer to do something, to design something, to show something, to give something. That's what coding actually is. We're going to be doing a lot more programming. Programming is not writing code. It's taking things that already have code in it, already been created, and then moving them around in blocks. So for instance, let's say if you ever did MySpace, I might be dating myself, that's fine. Or maybe you like working with your hands and you know there are a bunch of pieces that go together to create something. Legos, if you will. Well, coding is creating the Lego. And programming is using those Legos to create an object out of the Legos. So we're gonna do a lot more programming, not coding, but I do want you to understand what the difference is. Additionally, we have front-end coding. Front-end coding is still coding, still needs code. So programming is moving around what we're going to be learning in this class. Front-end coding, we'll be learning it just a little bit if necessary, but not so much in this class, maybe in the next class after the beginner class. And it's using HTML and CSS to be able to change the functionalities of how something looks or how something shows up on a web page. How it's designed, how it's structured. Not necessarily the same coding as creating the website itself to be able to pop up, but more so, for instance, add in a contact form on the front, or maybe it makes all the words on a specific glitter or something. That'd be front-end coding. We're not really doing much of that as well either, but I do want you to know what it is. Cookies. Yes, they're yummy things that you eat, but cookies also are basically information that tells the computer, the internet, or whatever, where you went, how long you were there, usage statistics, where you went after that. It's basically a package that has all the information about what your whereabouts were before, what you're doing after, what you're doing then, how long you were there, and your interactions with that website. Why is this important? Well, because clients might come and ask you to say, hey, do you offer SEO maintenance, or do you help with doing ads online? All those things need cookies. Additionally, cookies are important because there are laws as to when you can take cookies, and the fact that you have to inform people that you're taking cookies and that you're holding them, how long you're holding them, which ones you can do, which ones they have permission, you have permission to get. All those are important, which we'll get to towards the end of this course, week 3 and 4. But I do want you to know what a cookie is. A database. A database is a collection of information that all goes in one spot that the computer will pull from to show on your web. So, for instance, things that go in a database could be passwords, usernames. When you log in somewhere, right now, if you logged into YouTube to watch this, YouTube has a database of all the users, what their password is, what their email is, what their login is. When they log in, all goes in the database, because it has to be searched for it to be able to know, okay, this person with their name in, and this is who it is, I need to open up this account. That is MySQL. We will not be getting MySQL in this class at all, but I want you to know it exists. A database is where all information, it's not actually on your website. It's not in those files. Those files make calls to the database. It says, hey, this is the login page information. And in that code, it would say, hey, when this person goes and types in his username, go check it with this database over here in MySQL. Many different parts, but we will need to learn it. Front-end development. That's us. Front-end development is what we're going to be doing. So front-end development makes things look very pretty. When we finish the things, when we create our WordPress, you're going to be creating the things people can see on the front. You will need with anybody's code, anything like that. We're going to be using templates. In those templates, somebody already wrote that code and then sold it to you or gave it to you to be using for their purposes. And all that code's already done. And we're going to be changing things on the front end that are already built in that don't require us to back in and start writing things from scratch. Not learning that today. We're doing front-end development. Go. Front-end development focuses on design and functionality, like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. It focuses on the user experience, the interface, not necessarily what's going on in the back end. It's more so what people see and how they experience the person's website. Hosting, I hope you all are taking notes of this. Hosting is where that server is. Now, mind you, it could be in your house. My husband, who's a coder, he's a programmer, developer, he has servers. We actually have physical servers in our house. We own them. But you probably don't, because they're like this big and heavy, and they don't look like a cool computer. They look like a really big thing. And they connect to and the files for your website are hosted on a server. It's called hosting. And that server, as long as it's on and going and connected to the internet, people on the internet can access that server and pull back information and display your website on their screen. So if we put our website on the server that is in my husband's closet right now, and internet, people would be accessing the server in our room to see our website. We don't do that. We use GoDaddy, HostGator, these type of things. So if someone were to use or GoDaddy, because I've had GoDaddy forever, that's what we're using. GoDaddy in some location on this has that same physical computer server somewhere. Now, mind you, they probably have a room with computers, and all of them have files on it, just the same as you can save a file on your computer. And they save all your website files to their computer. and you pay them to hold it there. So when somebody goes to the internet and they type in your website, they're actually accessing a computer at GoDaddy's offices somewhere in the world, so that you don't have to host one in your own house. Additionally, why you might want to do that is because, well, what happens if your power goes out? GoDaddy pays a lot of money to make sure their power is not going down, your website's always accessible. If our power goes out and our server goes down, so will our website, which is why you want to host hosting. The next one is markup language, HTML. I know you've probably heard of this before. Developers use HTML to start to tag text, to achieve font, colors, graphics, hyperlink effects. Basically, adding things to your page uses HTML. That's probably what you've seen. It's more of a, I feel like it's more of a front end type thing. It's probably what you've seen and used in MySpace, or when you were coding your own pages or anything like that. If you add words coming across, or glitter, or pictures popping, or music, that was like HTML. User interface. We also call this UI. UI is super, super important, and it's a very common term, and it basically means how a person sees a website, their experience, the face, like what it looks like, the colors, the fonts, the text, the user interface, where the buttons are, how the buttons work. Do they click? Do they change colors? If it has been clicked before, does it, if you ever click a button and you've already clicked that link and now it's purple or blue or some other color, that is also part of the user interface. Everything you see on the screen is your user interface. Moving from the user interface, which is UI, you have UX, not UX, user experience. The user experience is very, very important. It's how people enjoy using your website. Ever went to a website that's really, really frustrating? You're like, I don't like this. It's just really messing up. I have to clicking back. Why would I put them in my cart, back to my cart, then go back to the page? That would be a poor user experience. The user experience is the flow of which you get to the end goal of what you want the person on the website to have. So for instance, if you find out that halfway through your experience, people are hopping out, you're going to figure out what's going wrong in my flow. There's a website I used to love to shop for, but for some reason in the user experience, like I said, when you added something to the cart, it would take you to your cart, and you have to go back and find the page you want. What if it wouldn't, you have to keep scrolling? I don't want to keep scrolling. So a better, for me, my example of user experience would be when somebody adds something to their cart, it pops up and says, this has been added to your cart, and with a button to say view cart. So if I cart, I can, but if I don't, I can just click out of it and continue shopping, which probably have a better opportunity for me to buy more things. I won't get frustrated, and probably have a better user experience. So UI, user experience, which leads me to getting very close to our first day's lesson, WordPress. What is WordPress? WordPress is a content management system. There are lots of content management systems. It's not just WordPress. There's like Django, there's a lot. But one of the most common ones that people use is WordPress. Mind you, there are other things, but they're not content management systems. Shopify, Shopify, Wix, BigCommerce, those things are not content management systems. And those things are not going to be able to use the same way. Additionally, WordPress.com and WordPress.org are not the same thing. You cannot go to WordPress.com and try to do what I'm teaching you now. That is not a content management system the same way. That is a managed website versus one that you have access to cPanel, which we'll get into, and have access to all the back end information and stuff. So when you're working with clients, you, for this sake of this class, are only going to be doing WordPress.org, not .com. It is not the same at all. It's a content management system. So there's no login, anything like that from WordPress.com. You wouldn't even go to WordPress.com at all. And then let's see. Last but not least, we're going to go plugin. A plugin is a program, a small snippet of code basically that somebody has functionality or purpose that adds functionality to your website. And we'll get into that as well. So we're going to go to WordPress. I'm also going to share my screen. Starting website. Here we are. Now, this is cPanel. cPanel is the tool, the program software that we use in order to build a website. It holds all of our stuff. It has file manager here, images, directory, privacy, this. It also has, remember I was talking about the SQL, MySQL, where the databases are. It also holds all of our domains. It also has all of our metrics, errors, all of this. But this right here is what we want. We want software. Now, mind you, when you get a client, they're going to hopefully have a cPanel. Even if you have HostGator, you can have GoDaddy, whatever, they all have cPanel. Hopefully they've already set up their server. If not, that's a whole nother class. But let's say that their server is already set up. We're going to go to Installatron. Installatron gives us many applications that so the first thing we do is in cPanel is go to Installatron, and then I'm going to go to Applications Browser. Now, all the apps that Installatron has, remember I was telling you there are many different things. And client management system here. If you don't have your own server and you don't have your own cPanel, you don't have this in your portal, there will be a link for you to get HostGator, and there will also be instructions for loading your HostGator as well, so that you can start this process on your own. So I'm going to go to Applications Browser. I've got it here. Now it's going to let me pick a domain. I should already have a domain. When you get your server, usually they also offer with hosting a free domain. You can also make subdomains. That's outside the course of this class. So we're going to pick a domain I can work with. I'll make an extra one. I'm going to go to the Industrial Empire. We'll pick one of those. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to pick just the InshallahEmpire.us, and I'm going to put sample, so we know it's a sample one. Now you don't need to do this when you use your domain. I'm making a subdomain, not a subdomain. I'm making a oh, it does. It goes here. I'm making another one with it. I'm getting there. Took it out. And I'm going to make, there we go, sample. And it will create it for me. So now it's at the end for me. It goes here, sample. You don't need that. When you have nothing on your domain, if this is the first website that you're using this domain for, just use the domain. Because I already have a website on this domain. I'm making it so that way it can be a subset of that domain. But it's just a sample, so we're fine. Under the version, we're going to leave this here. We're going to leave this in English. We do accept. We do want to update things. We do want automatic WordPress updates, especially because you're new and you don't know what you're doing yet. Let them automatically do things for you. This is where you can add your username and password. Make it for yourself. Make sure that you put in something you can remember. This is where you're going to put in your email that you're going to get information to. Make it something you check. If your website is down, it's going to send it to this email. Do not leave it this. This email is not going to this at all. Type in, you're actually going to check often. Put in the name of your website and then a tagline. You can change this later, so it doesn't matter. These things do matter. Make it important. Two-factor authentication, you can't add that. I do not, but you can. Not to say I don't. There are other ways for you to get authenticated, and sometimes you don't have access to your cPanel, or maybe sometimes the person doesn't give you access to cPanel, you can't get back in and things like that. So just Jetpack is cool, but just so that everybody can get in easily, access it. Let's pick another authentication. Unless if it's just you, you can do that if you want to. But if this is for a client, I personally would not, because you want to make sure that you have access, so you don't have to call somebody and say, "Hey, can you open this to do something before you can get in?" Limit login attempts, absolutely. It helps against brute force attacks. And then enable multi-site, absolutely not. And then we're going to go ahead and just manage these settings for you. And we're going to press install. I am not sure where this dropped out, so hopefully we are understanding where I was. It's already loaded that. I'm going to go back one more time in case that wasn't there. Go back to install and try applications. We're going to walk through that again just to make sure that y'all saw that, because it definitely froze during that time and I was not able to see. We're going to click on WordPress. We're going to click install this application. Again, I'm going to find a domain that I'm using. It could be any domain you have. I already used all my domains. I'm not picking a new one for this. Remember, it's just the address for where to find it, so it's not as important. That's my domain, thashallempire.us, but I've already used this for another website. Because I've used it for a website, I'm going to go ahead and type in a sub part, a directory. I'm going to make it sample, so I know it's a sample. And so the website will be the /sample. Just to go back over this. Here we go. The version we're going to leave alone. We're going to leave this alone. We're going to accept all of these things. We are going to let them update on their own because we don't know because we're new. We're going to name passwords, and then we can remember that is important to us. We're going to change this email to an email that we actually check because it's very important. If your website goes down to something, you're going to want to know about it. So go ahead and make sure that we are putting something we actually want. And then for your blog name, you want to make sure you're putting a name in a tagline. You can change this later. Important. I would not click two-factor authentication if this is not your website so that you don't have to wait on somebody else to get into it. Yes, limit login attempts, definitely, because it helps against brute force attacks. No, do not enable multi-site, and go ahead and let them manage that. And we're going to press install, but I already named the sample, so I have to name it something else. I named it with an S. There we go. And we're going to press install, and it's going to go ahead and do that installation for us. There we go. And so I'm going to scroll to where that is, and we're going to open it up as soon as I can find it. These are all I have on here. Here we go. Here's one that's a sample. There we go. One second. Oh, we are now in WordPress. I'm going to take off this banner so you can see just a little bit better. And in WordPress, since I get back to that screen, the first thing we want, because we've already started to have a theme. It didn't ask me for a theme. We don't really have one. We're going to go look for themes. What is a theme? A theme is a program, it picked one for me, that gives you everything that you need in order to make sense of how you're going to work your website. It has all kinds of things added into it. Are we really going to use this theme for the purpose we're doing today? No, not really. We're going to use it for the menu. We're going to use it for footer. We're going to use it to say what kind of fonts should be there. So I have one that you can always use 2020 Easy. It's an active theme. I like to look and see if there's anything else I like to use, but mainly remember that we're using it to actually use the pages. We're using it for in the footer and sidebars and things like that for additional. I actually have to code that will pop up on its own. For right now, we'll leave it this, but I think I'm going to use Go because I really do like Go. So we're going to install Go. Go is one of my favorite ones. It's very basic. It doesn't have a lot of detail to it because we just need very basic things. I've installed it and now I'm activating it. Install and then I press activate. You can click whichever one you want. And we're not going to customize it at the moment. We're going to leave that alone. And the next thing I'm going to do after picking a theme, because we need a theme, is we're going to go ahead and go to plugins on the side of the, just to help you know, this is my dashboard. Everything you're looking at right now is the dashboard. In this dashboard, you see some things that are already here, but not a lot. A plugin, remember I was telling you, is a snippet of information, code, that adds functionality to your website. We're going to type in Breezy by adding new plugin. Go over here, click add new plugin. And we're going to type in Breezy. Breezy is one of my favorite programs to use to make websites. It's a website page builder. We're going to activate it. It is a no-code website builder. Here we go. We're going to start. You can start from a pre-made website, or we can add pages to existing website. We do not have any website made at all. This is your first time. So we're going to go with starter templates. Wonderful. Now here you can see that you can get a license if you like. $100. I'll get a license most of the time, but you don't necessarily need it. And for the sake of this, also, if you're doing things for your license for them, the license be paid every year. If you do, ensure that you tell the client that after a year, they will have to pay their license. Do not keep paying for your client's licenses. We're going to go ahead right now and click on free. There are 21 free options for us to start with. And for this website, for this purpose of class, we're going to say we are making a page for an event. Let's see if there's any events in here. Oh, let's do a business. Let's do a business. That's wedding. We're seeing times. Here's a digital. Here's one for an event. We're going to do a business. Here are all of them. And let's go with. Let's go with this one. We can take a live preview of it. And then we can see if we like it. So this is it's a page. I like all these here. It looks pretty cool. Has a lot of elements for us to work with. I like it. So we're going to go ahead and go with it. And I'm going to click install. Now, this is very, very important. Pause, stop, listen, understand. Right here, if you click that and your client already had a website, this is only for a fresh website. If your client already had a website and you click this, it will wipe out website gone, website bye-bye. All those demo content if your client has no website. If your client has no website, then you can click this. If there is one page on their website, do not click this. It will make their website go by. All right, so we're going to install template. Oh, wait. It says keep existing content. Don't trust it. It says delete existing content, delete your current content. I'm going to install it. If they already have a website, just don't do it because you can lose things. It says it won't, but things happen and you never want to be like, ooh, sorry, I emptied your whole website out. Don't do that. Awesome. So that we've gotten it, we're going to go ahead and we're going to edit website. Here we go. It had to refresh. Here are the pages. So here are all of our pages that we see that they've now added. You saw it was only 2 before, and now we have all of these pages. What we're going to do is we're going to go to home. You know it's our front page because it says front page Breezy. Now, anything that has Breezy next to it is going to be using that Breezy information. Anything without Breezy, for instance, says, let's see, sample page, is not going to use the software. This draft policy page is not use the software. It doesn't say Breezy next to it. So I'm going to start with my home page, and we're going to click on Edit with Breezy. You have many options. You have Edit, Trash, View, and Edit with Breezy. So I'm going to start with Breezy. And I'm going to start on my home page. We're going to let that go. I'm streaming and doing a live, so it might be a little upset with me at the moment. Sharing my screen. It'll be okay. We'll let it get together. For the sake of time, I'm going to stop sharing the screen just for a second. And as soon as I did, it popped up. Wonderful. So we're going to go ahead and share my screen now that I have the screen up. It was a little annoyed with me. All right, that's fine. Okay, and now it has brought me to Breezy. Now, if you do not if you don't have Pro, you're going to have to eventually move this element because you're not going to be able to edit it. If you would like to get Pro, you can edit that menu. So right now, we're not going to have it. We're going to use Go for our element. I'll show you that afterwards. But I want to teach you how to use the basics of Breezy to begin with. Everything you see on the screen is editable, can be clipped. And the first thing we're going to do before anything is change our brand guide, which is here, right here. This little paintbrush is styling. You're going to be, before you start anything, add in your own colors for your brand or for the client's brand. So let's say they already gave us certain colors. We're going to go ahead and click it and change it by simply adding in that hex code right here. Hopefully you understand what the hex code is, but it is a 6-digit or 6-letter, 6-space thing with a hash mark in front of it, and it will change colors. So let's say we are going to, I'm going to leave these black and I'm going to pick some other colors. Also, it's important that you pick colors and shades that make sense for the theme you already got. So if this is purple, I'm not going to replace it with a white because whatever it was the other color is now white and it won't be able to be seen. If this is white, I'm going to replace it, leave it white. I leave things black and white if possible, or I'm going to replace it with something else that's light. So if I don't want things white, I can't make it black because whatever is black might not be seen. So just for right now, I kind of like this and make that, there, let's change it. Make it like a babyish blue, lighter blue because that was already light. And just try to use this as an understanding of that's kind of the flow of it. And as you see, colors have changed here. It naturally changes. See how that purple changed? It was another color and now it's purple. That blue somewhere in here, I'm sure. There we go. That's blue. I changed it. It was another color. And it makes the change overall. Additionally, you can change your font. So the next thing you want to go in is go ahead and change your font. So for instance, the brand guide for the client should already have a font. Let's say the paragraph is oxygen, and there's a bunch of you can add, and you can add your own fonts as well. So let's say you can change it. Let's say for my header, where's the headers? Heading 1. Change this to, let's say I want to change it to a serif font. If you now go up here, there should be something different. Let's see. You see how that changed in font? So I will change it everywhere in your entire website. Once you change these things, it changes it globally. You can also pick options. For instance, this is a theme pass. This one called magazine. So there are multiples you can pick. I suggest you creating your own and then writing it down somewhere, putting it somewhere. You can also add new. Let's say you want to add a new style thing. You can just tell it what it is and put it where it needs to be, and it will understand. So we're going to go ahead and delete that. So you want to get the styling done first, so that way as you're editing, you can see how things are going to look. Additionally, you can add, we're going to learn how to change very basic things. Let's say I want to change anything in a specific block, for instance, picture. This black circle, the black circle there, hopefully you're able to see that, is our menu. When you click on it, it opens up to a menu board. Of this, you have make it global. This is about the block itself. You have a way to add an image. So you click on this, you click out of it. Anytime you see the square with the lights part and the dark part, it is where you add your image. You have your background colors. You can add overlay border. This is coloring. You can save it as a favorite. You can move it on the page. You can change the width, the height, the settings. You can also duplicate it or you can delete the whole thing together. This is called a hero image. Write this down. Hero image. Hero images need to have certain characteristics. They should not be busy. They should drive center focus to exactly what it is you want the person to do. You want this person online working on something. You go, hey, are we working on your stuff? You want to change it to something that matters. For the sake of this, I'm going to be doing our friend Ashley for Asta Place. We're going to be working on hers, right? So if I wanted to change this, I would go ahead and click this here. And I would click out. Let me see if I can find a picture of her. Or maybe a horse, maybe anything. That's okay. So let's say we pick a picture. And we're going to click. I said click it. There we go. Slow. I'm just going to change it to something for now. Let's say we change it to this hand. Great. You see how it's plain? It doesn't have a lot going on. It still brings attention to this information. And also in your hero area, the first part of your website should have a hero area. The first part also should have a call to action. Call to action. What is a call to action? A call to action is what you want them to do when they come to your page. You want to say that immediately. You want them to click the button. If you want to sell a book, it should say buy the book. If you want them to register something, that button should say register. If you want them to learn, it should say learn. I personally am not going to put learn. I'm going to put book now, right? Cool. So I'm going to go back to screen. And because we're doing it for Ostal Palace, book now. There we go. Ashley, if you can, if you're in this class and you text me pictures of you or pictures you want to add to this, I will definitely add it while we're doing this. And then at the top, it says Smart Ads and Digital Agency. I'm going to go ahead and change this. I'm going to change it to, let's see. Matter of fact, what we're going to do, teach this class, we're going to go to Ashley's. We're going to go to her current website, Ostal Place, I believe it's .org. And that's how we're going to start this. We're going to do it together, everybody. You need to watch in real time. As soon as it pops up. And also, please bear with me. As you know, I am streaming, I'm sharing my screen, and I'm operating this at the same time, so it's a little upset with me. Here we go. Share this tab. Okay, so see, we have a header. It is a large header. We're going to work on it. It's a large header. That's okay. We'll get to it. We'll make it smaller. This header should be a little bit more narrow because when you open the screen, the first thing you should see should be what? That hero image. That hero image is going to tell you what it is that they want them to do. It's going to give a feel. It's going to give an understanding. So we're going to work on that first. I'm going to take what, I don't know what picture she was using. Let's see. Oh, okay. This is also parallax. We're not going to use parallax. Parallax is the fact that it is when you scroll, it goes in, for obvious reasons. That's why we're not using Parafax, because for obvious reasons. I'm going to go ahead and save this image. Hopefully it's not just one image. It may be. Okay. Ashley, if you have this picture, please send it to me. And we're going to actually, well, I don't know if that might be the picture for it because that's not actually a picture. See, a picture of Ostal Place. Wow, I got disconnected. I'm not sure where I got disconnected at, but we're going to present again anyway. And hopefully last time you saw, this is the beginning of Ostoplace because we are working on creating a new web page for this website. And it's also best if you're starting out to already have something to go from. So if not, it's fine. We're going to start here with going ahead and getting us this picture. We took this picture from here and we're creating our hero image. There we go. And the new hero image we have, the same picture she had originally. We went ahead and added some colors on top, some black on. It's at 50 opacity instead of it's an overlay. I added the overlay by simply clicking this box. I clicked on the menu, I clicked on this color box, and I added an overlay by clicking on the black and then bringing it up to where I can see the 53%. This is what it looks like without. You can't really read it that well. And so if there's a busier, I'm saying the hero should be very plain. If there's a busier picture, you can always add a color overlay and then just increase that opacity just a little bit until you get to your desired outcome. Now, too much and it's all the way black. Just pretty good. You want to be able to see the image behind. And so now you can see that for the hero image, when somebody comes to this website, Ostal Palace, a relaxing home away from home, book now. They know what it is. They know what it does. You have a call to action, book it. And then from this picture, you can obviously tell if you like riding horses and you're a girly and you want to, be all princessy, it's also Ostal Palace. This is the place for you. That is a hero image. It should have a subtitle that explains it. It should have a call to action. It should have a picture that is what you want the person coming to see, and it should be first thing they see. Your menu should not be very big. So this menu would actually be a little bit smaller. It'd be a little bit shorter, and then it would come straight to this. This is what it's called above the fold. Above the fold. Now, what does above the fold mean? It's anything that you should be able to see before having to scroll. So let's say you were doing this in mobile, because you're also going to have mobile. Well, when I'm doing this, I'm going to take a look, and on this side where you see this computer document, which is desktop view, I'm going to click on it, and it's going to take me to tablet and mobile. This is called responsiveness. We're going to be working on responsiveness. I want to make sure that I can also see things properly on both sides. So I'm going to go ahead and click on mobile. And as you see, so that's the, don't worry about that, that's the banner. The first thing they would see, it's a bit big. So we're going to take this for the responsiveness, we're going to take it down. Also, we're going to go ahead, that's pretty good. There may be some space in between here, some padding. And there is padding. There's not padding on the, there's 10 padding on the bottom, so I'm going to make that a 0. To bring up that other spot. Now, what is this pad? It's the space padding is the space above and below. It tells the computer to add pixels above and below an element. Pixels are what we measure this online in. So above the fold, when we open would say Ostal Place, and then services we're offering, the information of services, and then this thing. We love everything above the fold. They can already make a decision and click and spend money with you before even scrolling. We don't want to spend the entire above the fold with just a picture. We don't want to spend the entire above the fold with a quote, or spend the entire above the fold with just information that is not going to lead them to spending money with us or doing what you want them to do. So above the fold should have a title of what this website is, who it is, a subtitle describing them, a call to action of something they can do. On the desktop, that's all you're going to see. Well, on mobile, you have more space. Your hero image should not take up this entire space. So it should be a hero image, should be shaped horizontally, just like this, so people's brain can have the same aesthetic as they did when they were online or on desktop. Mind you, this is not for everybody. This is for your beginner website. There may be websites that take up the whole screen with something. That's not what we're doing here. This is for beginner basics. Don't worry about if somebody else got fancy stuff. We are sticking with the basics for us right now. Okay, great. When you get to the second part, before we move down any other things, we're not going to do any more work today. This is the first part of your homework. Just getting to having that first page, just getting that first page done. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. That's all we need to do for the first day. And I'm going to walk you through what you're going to for your clients or for yourself. There's a website template document that we're be using. I'm going to walk you through it and explain how you're going to put that together. So wait, next week when you come, you have your template already ready. Like your website is up and loaded, your template's already there, your hero image is done, and you have this template I'm going to get information complete. So we can start working on our one-page website next week together. Let's go over that. Okay, let me share this. My apologies, I lost the button just that quick. There we go. Wonderful. So this is what you'll get in the when you log in. You will see this for website template information. Make a copy, please. You can go to File, make a copy. Please do not use this website. Make a copy for every time you do one, so that way other people can enjoy this document as well. So you're going to fill out all these things, or have your client fill out all these things. Feel free to use it on your own afterwards. And you have the information to paste into your website moving forward. So the first part is homepage. You're going to write a paragraph for the following, a whole paragraph. A statement sentence describing your business. A general paragraph about your business. A general paragraph about the type of services. Any reviews from past clients. Link 3 events to highlight, photos and a paragraph for each. We need all those pages. It's going to help us come up with information to put on later. Then we're going to also just go ahead and get the information for the other pages, because our one-page website will still include all the information, just not in multiple pages. So you have your about, the owner biography, why you do what you do, any awards or certifications. These should all be paragraphs, not sentences, not a couple blurbs. Paragraphs. Use AI if you have to. Make it sound like human. Go back and rewrite it, because you know they don't, you know what I'm saying? You don't. Anywho, team members and photos. All the team members and photos. Photos to email, headshots, past events, photos with clients. All those things you need. Then you want to get into services. At least 3 services. If you don't have 3 services, come meet with me. I'll help you learn how to make tiered services. That one service you have can probably be 3 different levels of services. You're going to look service and photo, paragraphs, explanatory paragraphs, please. Any additional services is necessary. Then contact information, phone, email, address, hours. That's all we're going to start with. That's all for the basic website for this week. That is your homework assignment. So you're going to be getting that website template in. You're going to be loading your first website, picking a template, getting that hero image together, and putting in your brand. Next week, we're going to be going over creating copy, changing around some of the parts of the website, at making that homepage what it needs to be. We're going to have all information on it by next week. On week 3, we're going to be going into adding functionalities, adding in cookies, adding in things for ads, adding an ability for you to take in forms and messages and things like that. You're going to be learning about plugins. And that last week, you're going to be learning about quality control, learning about how to fix problems, troubleshooting, how to make sure that things stay well, and maintenance. So that is all we have. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, any ideas you want to learn about, or anything like that, put it in the comments. And I so look forward to seeing you next week, week 2, for development. Have a great day.